Well, hello and happy Saturday. Cynthia Gordon, representing Whole, women helping others live empowered. Well, today's video is what happened to community. Yeah, I wish for a day when we knew our neighbors. When we grew up, we used to know everybody on the block, which was a good and a bad thing, really, when you're a kid. Because, yeah, that nosy neighbor across the street. Why did Gladys have to always call mom when she seen us doing something? Because she cared, because we had community, because it takes a village to raise a child. All that's out of the window now. You try and correct a child, most of the time you got to fight the mama or the daddy. Teachers are literally getting punched at school, cursed out by children, and even fired if they protect themselves. Help us, Lord. I'm sorry, let me get back on this page because I got this written out. I wish for a day when we knew our neighbors, when we helped each other, when we cared for each other, looked out for each other. We could lend a helping hand when you weren't afraid to let your kids go to sleepovers, or when you can go next door and get a cup of sugar. The Bible teaches us that loving your neighbor is the second greatest commandment, equal in importance to loving God. I don't know about you, but it doesn't seem that we're living in those times right now. It is described as the fulfillment of the law, and it requires treating others with the same care, compassion, and respect that you desire for yourself. The commandment. Jesus summarized this in Matthew 22:39, stating, "Love your neighbor as yourself." This echoes the original instruction found in the Old Testament book of Leviticus 19 and 18. How about the golden rule, people? In Matthew 7 and 12, Jesus gave practical application. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. You know, what I've learned over this 60 some odd years is not everyone is going to treat you the way you treat them. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Everybody don't even want the same things. I wish at its just core, at our basic, that we would just treat everybody with respect. What a novel idea. What if we respected um, everyone, no matter if they look different than us, no matter if they had a difference of opinion? Because I really believe that we can agree to disagree, and I don't have to hate you. What a novel idea. Let's get back to who is your neighbor. So who is your neighbor? In the parable of the Good Samaritan, Luke 25, and if you read it, even 25 through 37, but it's summed up, Jesus explained that a neighbor isn't just someone who lives close to you, but anyone you encounter in need of help. It would be great if we saw people in need, and if we were able to, that we would help them. Not for money, not for bragging rights, not to hold it over their head and have say how much they had to pay you back, this or that. But just if I can help you, my desire is to help you. If I have something you're in need of, why not share? I don't know how we got away from it. Okay, well, that's kind of not true. I do know how some of the ways we got away from it, because we put our Bibles down. When I was coming up, yeah, we had to go to church. Now we don't think church is important. And I know For all of you people that say the church isn't a building, no, it isn't. Can you have church at home? Yes, you can. Are you supposed to be the church? Absolutely. Here's my concern. For those of you who say I can have church at home, but do you? Are you um, even studying the word? How you gonna have church at home if you don't even know the word? Now, clearly, they got some bad churches. Clearly, every church might not be teaching the Bible. Some folk in the church worse than those out of the church. All of those things might be true. But that's why the Bible tells you to study to show yourself approved. So if you're in a church and they have wrong teaching, then you might want to look for another church. But how about this? Every time you don't agree with something in a church doesn't mean you church hop. And let's just say we're not going to any churches at all because you got some church hurt. Are you being the church? Have you read enough of this word where you are being a good neighbor and not just to the person that lives right next door to you? What happens when you're in the grocery store and you get to the line the same time as someone else? Can you say, go ahead? If you're not late to work, let somebody else have it sometime. Have the lane, have the spot at the grocery store. Are you helping? Now, my sons always tell me I'm not everybody's mother. I beg to differ. Anyone in my midst that I can help when I see an error, if I can, I'm going to try to help them. Now, usually it ain't old folk older than me that they're talking about when I'm trying to correct someone. But I sure enough will, well, sometime it might be, but I sure enough will, if I see a child doing something, to say, baby, don't do that. Because I am your neighbor. I'm everybody's neighbor. I'm everybody's mama. In love, though, because that's the kicker. You trying to correct people and sitting in judgment with a big old gavel? No. But it does take a village to raise a child. You're somewhere and you see kids acting out, cutting up, then tap them. Say, baby, don't do that. I didn't say beat them. I say just ask them to stop. Because guess what? There's a lot of kids out there that will give you the respect that you're due when you also respect them. How about that? We should respect children. They're our neighbors too. But the deal is we got to care. And we got to care enough about what's going on in our communities, in this country, in this whole wide world. We've got to care. We've got to be the neighbor. We've got to be the church. So guess what? This ain't you got to go to church every Sunday type video. That's not what I'm saying. I do believe in the going to church. That's me. I'm not going to forsake the assembly. But if you never go to a church, because guess what? Going to a church every Sunday isn't going to make you a good Christian no more than sitting in your garage is going to make you a car. If it's not inside of you, if you're not reading this word and living this word, then you still might be wasting your time on Sunday. But little by little, we can do better. We can all do better. Guess what? I can pick up my word more too. I don't know where everything comes. Before I get on this video, I do some studying and look up. I know what I want to talk about. I know that God told us to be a good neighbor. But yeah, I had to look up, and I would not have been able to tell you Leviticus 19 and 18 is where you could find this scripture. No. But there's no excuse not to look it up. There's no excuse because most of us who have some Jesus in us, you do know the basics. But are you living it out? Can your neighbor count on you? Neighbor, sister, cousin, people that do actually live next door. What are we doing, people? We cannot just sit up and complain about the man. I don't know who the man is necessarily that's trying to keep us down or do this, that, and the other. We do know some of the men. But nonetheless, what are you doing to show up in a positive manner in your own community? We got people that either aren't working or that are at work and not being kind to their coworkers. You're not working, but you don't have time to maybe volunteer somewhere or help out somewhere. Are you being a good neighbor? Are you a part of a good community? Do you even speak to the people that do live right next door to you? When you come out of your house, out of your driveway, just a wave. Do you know how much that would mean in your community if you took the time to wave or say, "How you doing? It sure is hot out here. You getting along okay?" Maybe you have some elderly people in your neighborhood. Go over and offer them something. Say, "You know what? I cooked a lot today. I brought over a plate." Man, I remember those days. Even now, when people lose a loved one, we always show up with some food. These days, you got to show up with some toilet paper, some paper towels, some something. But do we even care? I don't know. To me, it's just something to think about because I do long for a day that we are neighborly, that we are a community, that if I correct your child and then I call you and say, "Hey, I saw your baby out there, so you know what? I told him to pull his pants up. I asked him if he needed a belt. He had on a belt, but his pants was around his narrow butt. I checked him and told him he needed to pick them pants up." Because he's representing your family when he's out there. You know what? When you know better, I pray you do better. Just some things to think about. How do you show up in your community? Are you a help? Are you the negative Nancy in your neighborhood? And again, I'm not just talking about on your street. I'm talking about in your church. I'm talking about on your job. I'm talking about in traffic. And certainly in your home. Anyway, just some stuff that was on my heart. I pray I left you with some nuggets. Go on and look up some of them scriptures if you didn't write them down. I talked about Matthew 22 and 39, Matthew 7 and 12, Leviticus 19 and 18, Luke 25 through 25 and 37. Hey, just go look for yourself. Maybe I'm not on point, but I think I am. God calls us to be better. He calls us to love, period. Period. Not those that look like us, but to love. He even tells us to love our enemies. The word says, you love the people that love you. What is that? Everybody can do that. So, anyway, let's lead with love. Let's try to be a good community, a good neighbor in our communities. I love you. Have a happy Saturday.